Sorry, Ben.
Roll call vote, Mrs. Jankowski. Mr. Lalansky.
Here.
Mrs. Mendez.
Here.
Mr. Petruno.
Here.
Mrs. Piernick. Mrs. Shrem.
Here.
Mrs. Seward. And Mrs. Rosado.
Here. Sunshine Law, be advised that this meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL's 1975, Sunshine Law, and that adequate notice of the date, time, and agenda has been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger, and has been posted and filed with the Marlboro Township Clerk. Copies have also been sent to each district school and other area newspapers in accordance with the law. I'd like to draw your attention to, but won't read in full, the statement of videotaping of public portion of Board of Education meetings, public comment statements, and no smoking on school grounds. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any announcements?
No announcements.
Public comments? Been anyone signed up?
No one is signed up for public comments.
I'm just going to wait for the audience. Does anyone from the audience want to speak today? When you come to the mic, please state your name and address.
My name's Carolyn Mack, and my address is 126 Main Street, Matawan. And I guess I just want to say, last night we were at the school board meeting in Hanover, and you probably already know that they voted 57-56 down, and it was a fairly full audience. How long did we listen to public comments?
3 minutes? Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
I think I meant
total.
tonight.
How long did we listen to? About 3 hours of public comments with a limit of 3 minutes per person. The vast majority, I'd say 95%, parents who were opposed and spoke very well, very eloquently, very well informed about why that is bad policy and why it shouldn't be affirmed and why it shouldn't continue. So the main reason we came tonight is to voice our support for what Hanover did. We're hoping and praying that you will also follow suit. We believe that a vote against 57-56 is a vote on the right side of history. We think that affirmation of parental rights has a long history, around the world. Parents are the protectors of their children. Nobody's going to protect and care about their child more than a parent. And, well, anyway, that's my main reason for being here, and we do hope and pray that you will, respect and affirm the rights of parents to be involved in major decisions for their minor children, because we are talking about minors. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have anything they would like to say? Val?
Yes, so thank you for bringing that to our attention. We did hear that Hanover repealed their policy, and you're for parental rights, and so are we. And so when we revised the policy, and I understand that the old original policy is back in place, but we did revise it to ensure that parents were involved. And as you know, we are now in the litigation process, awaiting our time in court for the discrimination, right, Mark? I just want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. So at this point in time, we couldn't repeal it, even if that was the route we wanted to go down, because we have an active case against us. Did I say that correctly, Mark?
You did, and there's an injunction in place requiring us to return to the status quo and not doing anything to the policy at this point. So it's an open legal question that we're currently analyzing about whether we could even technically repeal the policy anyway under the current court order, which is in effect.
But thank you for your comments.
Vin, did anyone else sign up?
No.
Okay. From the audience, did anyone else want to come and speak during public comment? Please state your name and address.
Dan Finney, Aberdeen Township. So I also wanted to express my concern about policy 5756 in that it really, even the revised policy that you worked so hard on, I have felt was really wholly inadequate to protect our children, and that the entire policy is really rife with outrageous and harmful policies, the bathroom policy, the sports policy, the language about affirming gender ideology without asking questions and looking at deeper potential issues that are root causes in these young children. And so in the process over the last couple of weeks, I became aware of another issue that I haven't really heard brought up, and that is child endangerment laws that are currently existing in New Jersey. And my belief is that the real and objective harm that comes from these policies and will come from these policies as if left in place should be viewed under the lens of child endangerment. And I have some information that I'll forward you by email, but I think that is a real and objective fact, and that we can see that as this escalates, if unchecked as it is, and people just go along with it, it's going to cause great harm to our kids, and needs to be repealed or rescinded entirely. I understand what Mark just explained, but it really, what Hanover did is, I think, brilliant, and I think at the same time common sense, and should be done by other school districts that might be not be under the same constraint that you folks are under. And if we don't push back as a community and the board members that are elected to protect the children, then we're complicit. And anybody with a little bit of common sense that reads carefully 5756 and the implications as more kids might be going down this path, due to why? Social influences and factors that are influencing them as children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Ron Mack. I'm from Matawan, and I was there last night too. I appreciate some of the things you people have been doing here and standing up. Mark, you're outside counsel, are you?
I'm general counsel. General
counsel. Okay. I would encourage you to not just evaluate what's going on, but extrapolate forward and where we're headed. Google Chloe Cole, C-H-L-O-E, C-O-L-E. She went through transgender surgery when she was 13 at the behest of her parents and doctors. And when she became an adult, 5 years later, she started suing everybody who did this when she was a minor. These are child mutilations. We have no business doing this in any of our schools and encouraging it. And counselors in the schools who have no medical degrees have no business whatsoever counseling or advising people that'll lead them down this road. Google Chloe Cole and see what's happening, because it's a $2.1 billion industry, the transgender surgeries, and it's starting to surface what's coming out of it. And it's not a pretty picture when you cut off girls' breasts when they're minors and boys' penises and their testicles, and this is somehow good, and it comes back really hard and really fast, and it'll come back to everybody who's been in the circuit with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Does anyone want to respond? Anyone else from the audience who would like to speak during public comment? Please state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Alice Dean. I am from Colts Neck. And I think I've told my story before, that I was a tomboy when I was a kid. I had a great childhood, no regrets, but I used to dress like a boy, and I used to think it was cool, even very young, up to 8 years old. I thought, I would run around like a boy in the summertime with no shirt on, and my girlfriends did that too until we were told this was not a good idea. But we caught frogs, and I played with dinosaurs, and I didn't play with Barbie dolls, and it was a normal thing to do. So some of these kids are just having normal life experience, and I had a lot of energy. And even younger than that, I was criticized by my preschool teacher, and she told all the girls that I was playing with that I was I acted like a monkey, and I was really bad when my mother came in for a conference, and so they wouldn't play with me. And I went in the corner and cried, and a little boy came up to me and said that he would play with me. And then my mother said I must have been traumatized because there was a period of time I wouldn't talk for over a week. And I told her I'd talk. She said, when are you going to talk? I said, when I'm big enough. So the point I'm trying to make is these things happen through childhood to children. And there wasn't a narrative where I could change my gender. I never would have thought of that. I always knew that I was a girl. And having good parents to reaffirm that I was a girl. I mean, by the time I went to 4th grade, I was wearing a dress again because we wore dresses to school. And I was fine with that. And I had a wonderful childhood. I can't imagine someone, maybe, I hope not a teacher, but would say, do you think you would feel better if you were a boy? Because I would have been totally confused. And that narrative is leading to a lot of problems with the kids. It is normal, and kids need to know that what is normal. You can't change your biology. We're born with XX and XY. And I think there's that narrative that's saying we can do that. And that is leading to people that are confused, people that I think have mental illness, and are really doing a disservice to their life. And by the time they're 18, they go back to their gender of birth. And so I just ask you to please appeal this 5756. I'm also a teacher, and I will not lie to my students and to the parents, and I don't think we should be asked to, because it's my religious conscience that I have protected under the New Jersey State Constitution. So thank you so much for your boldness, and we appreciate your effort here to stand for the children.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? I see none. Communications?
No communications.
Thank you. Executive session resolution. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Marlboro Township Board of Education shall conduct a closed executive session pursuant to the exception prescribed by NJSA 10:4-12 for the purpose of discussing interviews of superintendent candidates. It is anticipated that the length of time of this executive session will be 3 hours, and that action will not be taken in public after the executive session. Be it further resolved that the minutes of the executive session will be released when the need for confidentiality in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12 no longer applies. We will also be discussing matters of attorney-client privilege. Can I have a second?
Second.
Susie, any discussion? I see none. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. We are now in closed session. Have a good night.